how do you do cache invalidation with the help of dispatcher? So the first thing is stat files level also is used to invalidate the caches. So if the stat files level is equal to 0, it means that there is a stat file at the root, and the stat files level equal to 0 will invalidate any of the files when any file is published. Okay, because it is dependent on the m time. Now in order to provide the isolation at the sister branches, not just stat files level need to be used, but you should also use slash cache slash invalidate along with the stat files level. Usually I have put stat files level as 3 or 4. So when you say stat files level at 3 or 4, it means that there is a stat file at the root, at the first level, at the second level, at the third level, and if it is 4, it also has at the fourth level. Now cache invalidate is a path filter on which flush request dispatcher honors, default deny, and then allow list specific globs. Last match wins. When a flush for an allowed path arrives, dispatcher touches stat files based on stat files level, so they are complementary. Cache invalidate controls whether a flush takes effect at all, and stat files level controls which stat files get touched when it does. Most teams write cache invalidate to allow star.html and assume that scopes invalidation, but it does not. Once a flush is honored, the root stat is touched and the bubbling we discussed kicks in. Real branch isolation requires either custom invalidation handlers on publish that set that send targeted flushes per branch, or accepting that branches will invalidate together through the root and tuning grace period, and serve stale on error to soften the impact during publish windows. So for example, for any of the path and a file type, in the cache invalidate you have a rule for deny. It means that the flush is not honored and is ignored. That means no stats touched anywhere, even if we have a stat files level as 0 or 2. That means the cache stays valid for both branches. So for example, uh, if I have content other brand slash home.html that is published, but I don't have slash content slash other brand slash star as type allow, that means I'm basically like there is another star slash type deny. That means I'm denying the flush. So the stat files level 2 does not get honored. The stat files at the root level 1 and level 2 are not touched. That means even if that HTML is published, the sister branches do not get touched and the cache stays valid for both the branches.